G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video. And here we go with round 2 of the Road to GT7 series, the last online championship in Gran Turismo Sport before we begin the brand new life cycle of a brand new Gran Turismo installment. I'm pretty sure we've got like 20 days until Gran Turismo 7 comes out, so yeah, I'm definitely starting to get a little bit excited. But let's go for round 2 of 4 for the Road to GT7 series. We're at Suzuka Circuit. Again, we were at Suzuka a lot a couple of months ago, and we seem to be back here again, but I don't necessarily mind. I don't hate Suzuka. I can't say I love it, but I don't hate it for sure. We're driving in Group 3, and we are actually driving the Aston Martin DBR9, the most recently added Group 3 car to the game. Normally it's basically nowhere in Group 3, but as we know from the previous episode, if you watched that one, if you haven't, I suggest you go and watch it first. Tuning is on for the Road to GT7 series, so the Aston Martin DBR9 is actually the most responsive car to a tune in Group 3, so as soon as tuning is enabled, the Aston Martin is your car. And that means now is the time to extend a very warm thank you to AMS Dude for once again providing the tune for round 2 for Road to GT7 on this Aston Martin DBR9. A very, very solid tune, and he's a very reliable source of just finding a good tune. I'm sure he'll do more in Gran Turismo 7 as well. So if you really want to get your hands on some good tunes, I suggest you go and follow this guy on YouTube. He'll make videos on his tunes there, and you can copy them straight. And then you don't even have to bother with all the tuning shenanigans that have to take place for what seems to be the foreseeable future of Gran Turismo. So yes, I can't tune to save a life, so I've got to grab it from someone else, and AMS Dude is the guy. But we're just going to focus on our qualifying lap. So coming into turn 1, braking just on the 50 meter board, or turning in on the 50 and braking just after we turn in, gentle on the brakes because the car can step out sideways and you can end up on the outside of turn 1 and 2, and then coming up through turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, it's all just throttle control. Make sure we leap and mount this curb here because we can pull the car around the corner, little dab of brake heading through this long reverse bank corner, and make sure we open up this Dunlop corner at turn 7. We committed to the power a little bit late, so not the best of runs through there, but it's not to worry. Looking on the left hand side, braking just before the 50 and turning in, you can cut a lot of that Degna 1 and then Degna 2, braking before the end of the curb on the left, way before the end of the curb on the left actually, and that sector splits of 50.2. Heading into the hairpin, braking just on the end of the curb, straight line the braking, meet the apex, nice and slow in first gear and nice and gentle on the exit on the power in first gear as well, because this is a very loose, very sketchy tune, so you really have to know what you're doing and really treat the car and the tune with respect. Coming into Spoon, braking just on the access road, halfway between the 100 and the 50 meter boards. Make sure we meet the curb on the outside, which we don't do, and that just sort of inhibits our turn in a little bit, because if you're on that curb on the outside as you turn into the second part of Spoon, the bumpy nature of the curb can actually help just unsettle the back of the car slightly and actually help you turn into the corner. So we don't quite do that here. Coming into 130R, turning in just after the 50 meter board, flat out through 130R, and then braking halfway between the 150 and the 100 meter boards, coming into the final Casio triangle chicane at the end of the lap. You can actually cut a lot of the curbs there. I think we cut too much at the second and the car straightens out a little bit. So not the best of runs through there. We come across the line and it's a 54.6. My best qualifying practice in a lobby, just building up and warming up to the combo all week, was actually a 54.2. We're 2/10 down at that first meaningful sector split as well, so this lap isn't looking to be an improvement. But yes, my best run was a 54.2 in qualifying simulation. Not something I expected to replicate because it was a pretty spot-on lap in terms of qualifying, but I probably would have liked a 0.3 or a 0.4, but unfortunately I don't think this lap is going to be an improvement because we were 3/10 down at that previous sector split there. We get a little bit unstable at the chicane there, so I'm not sure if that's even got to be an improvement there. So as we come across the line, it's a 54.8, so we're going to have to settle with the 0.6. It's currently put us in provisional 5th, and we'll see if that's where we stay. But as we head to the final grid, we see we are in 5th. We've also got an R4M member who goes R4M for life. Brah. This guy knows what's going on. But let's move into the race now. Okay, so Aston Martin DBR9, Group 3 at Suzuka. This is actually a 16 lap race at Suzuka, and with just about a 2-minute lap time, it's quite a long race. It's about a 31, 32 minute race. It's a very long race, very tiring race. It's so easy to make a mistake too, because the nature of Suzuka, or as some of us like to call Suzuka, it's got this really slippery astroturf on the outside of all these grip limited corners. So you're slightly offline and touch the astroturf, you're going to be auto spinning, and just trying to avoid that for 30 minutes is a really tough task to do. But off the launch of the standing start, we get one of the best starts in the top quarter of the grid or so, and we've pulled alongside NX Matt, who started one position ahead. He's got the inside for turn 1. I have to make sure to leave space, and oh wow, I'm right on the edge of the curb at turn 1. That could have been raced down the drain before it even started, but I hang it around the outside of Matt, which gives me the inside for turn 3. Everyone's going to be on the cold tyres at this particular stage, so it's going to be difficult to hang it around the outside, as NX Matt tried to do. We're just all tentatively heading through this opening snake section. Really difficult on the cold tyres at the start of the race. Really easy to make a mistake, as we actually do there. We don't commit to the power like we really should have. We actually got the line wrong and took too much curb on the apex of Dunlop, which is what was ultimately my demise. And you can see I've got NX Matt right up my backside now. I get a really good exit out of Degna 2 though, which just about opens the gap up enough such that he's not close enough to actually go for a dive at the hairpin, which probably could have been a little bit detrimental for my race, because at this particular stage my eyes are actually firmly forward to see what Twitchy and Atom are doing. Have a look at that gap to the lead as well. It's already up to 3 seconds, and that's Distinct Andrew, so that's Amazing Hour. He's changed his name because it didn't fit when he added Distinct when he joined the new team, so he's had to change it to Andrew, but it's still Amazing Hour. It's still the same bloke up in the lead, and that gap to him and Twitchy, two people that are normally pretty comparable on pace, the gap's really big. So that suggests to me that Andrew's actually started on a different tyre compound, and that probably makes sense given he started off pole position. He'd probably be on the soft tyre. And Twitchy, I think, has probably started on the mediums, as have I, and Atom is not really making any inroads to Twitchy. If anything, he's dropping off ever so slightly, which definitely tells me that Atom's probably also on the medium tyre. I do have to watch out for any other cars behind me that may have started on the medium tyre, as this battle is brewing between Tez and Matt as we all get bunched up through the chicane on the ending of that lap 1. I give Tez the toe here because Matt was heckling me a little bit, so I thought at that stage, oh yeah, Tez, you can have the slipstream there, we can try and promote a battle and just try and inhibit Matt. I guess, it's, a little bit, we're all mates in the game, but when it comes to the racing, I have to make decisions that are best for me. You have to be selfish in Gran Turismo, it's just the way it is. So unfortunately for Matt, if his strategy relied on him charging up through the field, and I've just gone and sort of not allowed that to happen, it's a little bit unfortunate for him. But yeah, I could tell Matt was putting quite a bit of pressure on, so I wanted Tez behind me. Quite good mates with Tez, so I don't think he's going to put up too much of a fight here, especially in the opening stages of the race. But all I'm looking for now is for Tez to stay in the slipstream, because as long as Tez is in the slipstream, no one is going to really be able to pass him and promote a battle. As oh dear, look at that! I catch the grass on the entry to the hairpin there, and Tez catches right up to the back of me now. Flash of hazards in apology. Sorry, Tez. Because that's not really what I want to do. I hate it when this happens. So I get in front of someone, I want to settle down into a rhythm, and I just start making uncharacteristic errors. I'd never made that grass, I'd never made that same mistake in all of my build-up, all of my practice, all of my warm-up, all of my laps, trying to get prepared for this combination. I'd never caught the grass in the entry there, and then I do it in the race where it really matters. But I think Tez has given me an opportunity here, because he's caught up in my slipstream there. He's going to work with me here. He's given me a bump into 130R, which sends me right through that corner with a load more speed than I normally would. Make sure we get it stopped for the chicane. Beautiful. Cut the second one because there's no penalty there. I run a little bit wide off the exit, actually. So one more mistake on this lap. That's really not what I wanted to be doing at this particular stage, but Tez has got one last opportunity off the back of that mistake, or I say last opportunity, he's just got another one. Coming down into turn 1, he's not going to choose to pass me, so at this particular stage, Tez is definitely looking like he just wants to stick behind, work together, not fight, not battle, just maximise the pace, minimise the time loss, and that's exactly what we did. We fast forward or skip up to lap 4, heading through the S's section. Have a look to the gap to Tez. It has extended out a little bit, but he's managed to stay in the slip for a good couple of laps here, and he's about 6.5 tenths behind me now, so he's teetering sort of 1/10 away from losing that toe. And the problem with the slipstream as well is that the further you get out of the slipstream, the harder it is to keep it, because the slipstream effects become weaker the further away you are from the car in front of you. So as we come into the hairpin now, Tez sort of struggled at the hairpin in all of the build-up here, and I think that's ultimately what's proved to be a little bit of a pressure point for him, because he's almost lost the slipstream heading out of the hairpin there, the corner in which he struggles at. I happen to get a really good spoon, utilising the curb on the outside of that first part of spoon at turn 13, which turns me into the second part a lot better than I would if I didn't use the curb, and that gap has opened up beyond the slipstream range. That is 8 tenths to Tez at this particular stage, and I think my slipstream was probably carrying him a little bit, because as we head into this chicane, someone's wiped out the brake boards. That's going to be no good, hey? But I actually managed to adapt and pick something else in a couple of laps after they got wiped out. That gap to Tez has opened up to 1.1 seconds by the time we head through the chicane. So we skip ahead to lap 7 now. This is going to be our in-lap off our first set of tyres, so we can finally talk about the strategy. We have started on the medium tyres. We used the soft tyres for qualifying. This particular race here, all 3 racing tyres, so hard, medium, soft. The super softs we never really use, so I say all 3. Just referring to hard, medium, soft. 3 main tyre compounds are all mandated at this race, meaning you have to use all 3 during the race. That means basically you have to do at least 2 pit stops, because you start on a tyre, you have to pit to go onto a different set of tyres, so you've used 2, you have to pit again to go into your third set. So it's going to be a 2-stop race. The best strategy was basically maximising the softs, maximising the mediums, and then whatever laps were left on the hards, because the tyre multiplier was high enough such that your mediums and your softs combined still don't make up 16 laps worth of actual meaningful pace. So the soft tyres lasted between 6 and 8 laps, depending on who you were. The mediums about the same, but you can probably afford to extend the medium stint by 1 extra lap, because it's a more durable compound, and then the hard tyres with the remainder. I decided, because I wasn't starting right at the pointing end of the field, but I wasn't starting sort of in the traffic, in the pack where all the shenanigans occur. So I decided to split the difference and start on the medium tyre, and it's worked out perfectly for me, because Twitchy and Atom have driven up the road, and I do believe they're both on the medium tyre also. So Twitchy being a very fast driver and Atom having the slipstream of Twitchy, I think that's just allowed them to drive away and gap me a little bit. So you can see Andrew goes into the pits for the soft tyres. You could choose to start on the softs if you were right at the pointing end, which Andrew has decided to do. So he's in the pit lane, Twitchy's in the pit lane, Atom is in the pit lane. They are both on mediums. I have a moment of indecision. I'm not sure what to do. I end up choosing hard tyres. Yeah, I want the softs at the end. So we're going to go into the hards now. Oh, it's going okay. It's all good. Just relax. Just relax. Clean air, beautiful. I end up on the hard tyre. I'm in clean air, which is absolutely perfect, because what I didn't want to happen is I'm coming out on the slower set of tyres and I've got to battle people. So not only have I got no grip, I'm also battling, which means I'm losing even more time than I ordinarily would by doing this short stint on the hards. But ultimately, the strategy I decided to choose was mediums at the start, because I started sort of in a position where the mediums made sense, run them for 7 laps, pit in, get onto the hard tyre, run them for 2 laps, and then have the soft tyres at the end of the race with the light fuel load. So that's what I've decided to do. It's the hard tyres for only 2 laps. Have a look up ahead now. There's an interesting battle. I think Atom and Twitchy are side by side, which tells me an interesting story about what tyre strategy either of them may be on here. Twitchy has not been able to defend from Atom. Atom ahead of Twitchy. Twitchy will be on the hards now then. And to add to that, Atom will be on the softs, because Atom started on the medium, he pitted in, and all of a sudden has got impeccable pace, so he'll have pitted in off the mediums onto the softs. Twitchy would have gone from the mediums to the hards because he wasn't able to defend from Atom, and that's just confirmed 2 laps later when Twitchy goes into the pits off the hard tyres, as do I, to get off my hard tyres. We exit that pit lane here. It's going to be really crucial that we get some clean air, actually, and we kind of do. we're not stuck behind a big battle pack. The only sort of blemish in that particular notion is Cedar's Proud GT. I have no idea what tyre compound he's on, but I know at the very least, he's going to be on 1 lap older tyres than me. I've got the grippier set of tyres with the most tyre life they're ever going to have, so no one else has more grip than me right now. So I know that Cedar's Proud, at the very least, is going to have at least 1 lap old soft tyres on the car, and that's best case scenario. More than likely he's on a worn set of mediums, or he's doing his hard tyre stint, because at this particular stage you can see how quickly we're closing up to the back of Cedar's Proud. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's probably on a different set of tyres, different tyre compound rather. Of course he's on a different set of tyres. We can't both be on the exact same 4 tyres, or can we? Maybe some philosopher can explain that one. But anyway, we've caught up to Cedar's Proud. You can actually see I'm flashing the headlights there. The headlights just about cast a little bit of a glow onto the track, so you can see when I'm flashing them. I'm flashing them basically just to say, mate, I'm coming up really quick behind you. There is going to be no point in you fighting me, because if I was in his position and someone just came out of the pits, caught up 2 seconds in the matter of a lap, I would go, you know what, I'm going to lose much less time if I simply just let this guy go and grab his slipstream for the most part of the race. So it's going to be telling here. I am in the slipstream. I'm half a second behind him at this stage. I've not lost much time to him just yet, but as we catch right up to his bumper, heading through the Casio triangle on this lap, we have the slipstream heading down the main straight. Couple more flashes of the headlights because I'm only 2/10 behind, which is more than close enough to actually get a move at turn 1. Oh, don't defend! And he decides to defend. I'm like, mate, what are you doing? We'll just lose much less time if you just let me pass and use my slipstream, but instead he wants to try and force the issue a little bit and make a battle, but I completely just show him up by heading around the outside at turn 1. I've got a lot of grip at this stage. Have a look through the S's here. Look how hooked up the car is, meeting every single curb absolutely beautifully, carrying a lot of throttle through all the corners. Look how early I'm able to start to get on the throttle heading through turn 6 there. I've actually got a 3/4 of a tenth up on my previous fastest lap, on track for the purple lap there. That particular sector split was blue. Heading through Spoon, it looked like a pretty good Spoon from the fast forwarded footage. A brief flash up of purple across the line. It's only a 155.7, which is only 2/10 off the current fastest lap of a 55.5 by Twitchy. So I'm definitely sort of in a good position here on these soft tyres. They're in a really good shape, and I've got a really low fuel compared to some other people that may have used their soft tyres at the start of the race with a full tank of fuel. So obviously I'm just looking to maximise this stint now. I've got no one else around me, so I can just lap cleanly, consistently, and not make mistakes. This was as close as I got to a mistake, just a little bit of wide out of turn 7. Oh my goodness, that was close. That's what happens when your mind wanders. And because I was lapping on my own, have a look, I've got 6 seconds of margin ahead of me and 7 seconds behind me. I've got no one around me. I think my mind just wandered. And that's how easy it is to make a mistake at Suzuka. But by the end of this lap, the final pit stops are taking place. The people up ahead are starting to go in. Alright, front tyres are a bit how you going. And I'm now starting to realise my tyres aren't in the best shape, but obviously I'm not going to be making any more pit stops. This is the most telling part of the race now. This is where all the strategies equalise out. People are in off their second last tyre set onto their last pit stop as late as that pit stop can possibly occur. At the end of lap 14, everyone's tyres are dead. Meta 7, Atom, Goat, all in off the soft tyre. Andrew was off on the medium tyre, and we're going to come out of the pits here to see Atom. Atom's done well. Fair play. Atom's done very well. Has made the absolute most of his soft tyre stint in the middle, and that gap to him has opened up to 3.6 seconds now, 3.5. So he's done well. I split the strategy between myself and Atom. I was pretty well covered Atom for pace leading up to the round here, but then sort of in the race he kind of stepped up his game. You know, really pulled a lot of pace out of the bag, and look at that, it's managed to reflect in a massive gap after the pits. Bring it home now, just bring it home. And bring it home, I did, or actually we've still got one last rendition of the chicane to actually perform now, make sure we don't spin out, but at this particular stage, we're on the last laps of the race. I had no one really very close to me, so I just took it pretty easy through there, and we come up across the line for a sensational 4th position. Oh, what a race! Awesome! That's awesome! Atom, fair play, mate. Fair play, good job. I'll be honest, I thought I had you covered coming into it, but no, well done. Oh, poor Tez. I beat everyone I should have beat, roughly. I should have been racing Tez, though. And everyone that normally finishes ahead of me, finished ahead of me. Very good. Woohoo! 284! Haha! Yes! Come on! Very, very good. So needless to say, I'm pretty happy with that. It was a pretty good drive. This is something I'm noticing about myself and Suzuka. Normally, I don't really enjoy or look forward to a race at Suzuka because I know it's just going to be a really intensive, long race, trying to sort of minimize mistakes and make sure I don't touch the astroturf anywhere. And it's a really hard thing to try and drill into your head to just try and take it easy, but make sure you're still setting quick, consistent laps. And this race being 16 laps, over half an hour long, it was a slog of a race. But I managed to put in the practice, put in the time required. I got myself a top 10 as well. I actually got myself 5th in the region for the qualifying time trial, and I probably could have gone faster. I probably could have gone up in the 4th position with a 0.8 because I got a 53.9 in time trial. But yeah, I've really got not too much to say about that race. Really happy. Nothing went wrong during the race. I pretty much got the best I could out of the traffic situation. I had a little bit of that fight with Cedar's Proud, but I really didn't lose too much time because I still set my 55.7 on the lap in which I had to sort of overtake him. But overall, 284 points. I think that makes up for the previous round where I really struggled in that Ford GT40 at Tokyo Expressway. So I finally redeemed myself, got myself a really solid point score of 284, and my goodness am I happy with that. The next round is the shifter kart, the Gran Turismo 125 shifter kart at Red Bull Ring Short. Goodness me, what a silly, stupid race, but let's see how we go with the practice, and maybe I'll do the race, who knows, maybe I'll skip it, I don't know, depends how I feel. But as for this video, that's going to round it up today, so do hit the like button if you enjoyed, and do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos and streams from me. Do leave a comment as well, questions, comments, and constructive criticism as always, very much appreciated. But that's going to be the end of this one today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.